When it comes to new generation characters from Boruto, we hear all the time about the powerhouses of the generation like the new generation Team 7 and Kawaki, and we even hear about people in the generation behind them, the cyborg named Damon who is stronger than the Jigen who defeated Naruto and Sasuke and Boruto episode 204, which is why it's very easy to overlook characters like Sumire from Boruto's generation who are actually stronger than they're given credit for, which is why in today's Naruto Explained video, I want to talk to you guys about Sumire and why she's actually a lot stronger than you guys realize, and put into perspective why her being overshadowed by the other people in her generation actually plays a big role in the misconception that people have that she's a fodder character. She's actually far from it. Right away from the early days of the Boruto timeline, it became clear that Sumire was actually quite the capable shinobi in her own right, especially back in the Academy arc where she, despite her shy demeanor, she quickly established herself as being one of the more skilled members of Boruto's class and truly embodying the very heart of what it means to be a shinobi, which is the art of deception itself, because she fooled everyone into thinking that she was this soft-spoken and meek class president, when in reality she was the daughter of a former root shinobi who was loyal to Danzo, and while Boruto's generation were coloring with crayons inside the lines, she was being trained to take the very revenge against Konoha and carry out her father's will. The battle against Mitsuki in the anime showcased a few things that people overlook. While she wasn't strong enough to beat Mitsuki in combat, she did show that her skill level at that point in time was way above that of the expectations of a regular academy student. Having the skill to match blows with someone like base Mitsuki, who had every intention to actually kill her and stay alive, is a pretty big accomplishment. And in that battle, we saw that she was advanced enough that she could use water release in an effective way as a shinobi, which is a really big deal that I don't see enough people talking about. If we go back to when Kakashi oversaw Naruto and Team 7's bell test, Kakashi was outright shocked that Sasuke was able to use a change in chakra nature, because that's not something expected of a genin, let alone a genin fresh out the academy. It's considered to be too advanced. When we jump ahead to the Akatsuki Suppression Arc, when Kakashi is training Naruto in wind release chakra drills, we learn that changes in chakra nature are really only truly expected of shinobi who are Chunin rank, and that makes a ton of sense when you go back to the original Naruto manga, and why having a single change in chakra nature is something expected of Chunin, and why having multiple changes in chakra nature is expected of Jonin. Think about all the genin who really stood out in Naruto's Chunin exams, and take out Naruto because he's a Jinchuriki. So you have Neji, Temari, Gar, Rock Lee, Sasuke, Shino, and Shikamaru. Those are the names that most likely come to your mind immediately, and it's for a really good reason. All of them in their own rights are special. Shikamaru and Shino stood out because they mastered their clan's hidden jutsu, which are jutsu taught by the clan elders to people in the clan. They're not Kakei Genkai. Neji and Sasuke, they stood out because they were born with Kakei Genkai and they knew how to use them with the Byakugan and the Sharingan respectively. Gar had the sand manipulation, Rock Lee has mastered the forbidden technique called the 8 Inner Gates, and Temari stood out because she had mastery of a chakra nature. Temari was a hard out in the Chunin exams because of her wind release. Sasuke possessed both fire and lightning release, and Gar's sand technically is not an earth release, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to lump it in as earth release to prove a point. Those three stood out from all the others because they could use chakra natures, which made them very versatile in battle. Sumire, just by being able to use water release as a academy student, was already familiar with a change in chakra nature to the point that she knew multiple ninjutsu associated with it, from making water walls to water clones, something that is a signature of shinobi from the Mist Village, to shooting all compressed water bullets in a rapid fire fashion. By the events of the Genin graduation exam, we saw that she's progressed to a point where she's capable of performing sealing jutsu to restrict movements of others when she assisted in the group effort to seal Kakashi's movements during that exam. Her battle sense ranks in at a Chunin level as well. Between her mastery of water release and her training by a former Anbu, she incorporates a lot of quick strikes and speedy movements because she isn't someone with a monster chakra reserve to spam high-level ninjutsu, nor is she someone with immense striking power. Her speed and agility and intelligence are the main things that she has going for, and she has to rely on that combination in order to effectively create her own openings, just like we were accustomed to in the original Naruto manga, where not every person who won the fight was actually the strongest. In Boruto episode 13, she even earned the praise of the Chunin who were working underneath Sai when they were trying to capture her because of her agility and her speed being on par enough that she was able to avoid attacks that were coming in her blind spot when they tried to capture her. Even when she began to use Nue, she was able to manage the control of the Nue summoning to a degree that several shinobi were needed in an attempt to try and restrain it, and we saw to a lesser degree that she's able to use it to make these purple ethereal snakes that can be used to absorb chakra as well as to restrain people, and she can also use them like she did in the Chunin exams when she saved Wasabi and Namida by wrapping around Namida's hand and using the other tentacle in order to keep herself and her teammates from falling into the ink pit during the first exam test during the Chunin exams. The Gozu Tenno was originally placed on her back as a medium to summon Nue, is now placed on a seal in her hand, and as she's grown stronger, Nue has gone from being a cute little cat-like creature to slowly regaining its massive size that we saw back when she initially summoned in the Academy arc and fully manifested into its true form. When she battles against Kawaki in the anime, she's actually able to have Nue at a pretty decent size. It looks like a large-sized dog at that point. Her being at a tuning level of skill isn't really anything to turn your nose up at, while she's clearly behind the members of Team 7 who were already confirmed in the official Boruto movie novelization written by the former writer of Boruto, Ukyo Kodachi. We saw that her intellect plays a key role in her combat ability as well, because when she was undergoing a strategy meeting with the members of her team in the anime, Sumire quickly laid out the strengths and weaknesses of the members of Team 7, highlighting them as the one team out of all the Chunin exams participants that they needed to worry about, which is the sign of a high-level shinobi, which does not get a lot of notice from fans, because prep time and intel go a long way towards determining the outcome of a battle, or as we learned in the aftermath of Shikamaru versus Tamari, accurately knowing where your limits are compared to your enemy and being able to plot a path that leads to a way away from direct conflict is the mark of a good Chunin, because it gives the highest chance of our mission to succeed, and it gives the best chance for your entire team not to be wiped out in battle. Whereas Sarada, Mitsuki, and Boruto each continue to grow more powerful as Boruto Naruto Next Generations progressed, we saw Sumire go in the other direction. She joined the Ninja Tech department both to learn how to control Nue's power better, but also train the weapon that is the deadliest for, which is her mind. Working in the Ninja Tech department is something that doesn't get brought up enough by fans when discussing Sumire's potential, and it's because many fans don't realize the true purpose of that department, and honestly it's not the sexiest thing to consider when you're talking about a battle shonen. We're all here for the big crazy explosions and the over-top jutsu. You're not going to get that with Sumire, but there's a good reason for it. So the department itself is using science to analyze shinobi combat methods and find more effective ways for shinobi to battle, to a point that Kakashi in the Kakashi Retsunin story, the Six Hokage and the Fallen Prince, Kakashi credits the Ninja Tech department with helping him surpass the power level that he had in the 4th Ninja War. So think of that Kakashi who was fighting against the version 2 Jinchuriki, the Kakashi who fought Obito and Madara. Hokage Kakashi is actually stronger than that, and it's because of the Ninja Tech department and the way that they use science to help him take his chakra control to levels to where he's able to make a mud wall taller than the highest skyscrapers in Konoha, and to be able to change the properties of that mud wall into glass when a shinobi tries to use lightning release to destroy it. Even Sasuke Uchiha is someone who we know has sought out the Ninja Tech department's research, because in the Sasuke Shinin Teaches Star People story, he directly credits the department with helping him create a lightning release jutsu that requires high chakra control that spins a kunai or an object in the air at rapid speeds before using lightning release to shoot it off faster than the speeds that Sasuke Shidori Senbon can do, which in turn raises the destructive power to a point where just a mere kunai was enough for Sasuke to destroy an entire cliffside using the jutsu. And in the battle with Momoshiki in episode 65, we see him briefly use this jutsu to spin the sword on top of his foot before he launched at Momoshiki at blinding fast speeds, so fast that Momoshiki had no choice but to dodge it. Essentially, what skills she actually had in the shinobi arts are being refined because science is providing a new way to look at how she's using her chakra and ninjutsu. But as we see in the interactions with Ada, that constant working of her mind has her able to keep her on her toes long enough to fool Ada into thinking that she's been affected by her charm and control shinjutsu, and at every turn, when it looks like Ada might be suspicious of her, she's already got a counter in mind to keep her fooled, because as she told us in Boruto episode 13, hiding is her specialty. Again, she's not the flashiest character, but by the end of Boruto Naruto Next Generations, while we don't see evidence that she's progressed at the same level as the members of Team 7, like say Sarada and Mitsuki, who by the end of Boruto Part 1 have clearly gone past that Jonin level of power that they started the manga at, Sumire staying in that Chunin range in terms of power is still impressive for her age. That's actually enough to take out the second form states of the Sound Force Shinobi, who struggled with special Jonin and would have lost to any standard Jonin from Naruto Part 1, given that special Jonin are weaker than standard Jonin. But she's still got enough going for her that if you dropped her in the Chunin exams in Naruto Part 1, she'd be able to more than be capable enough to handle the Shinobi in there, and with New Age chakra absorption abilities, she might have the edge depending on who she's actually fighting. For a 12-year-old, saying that you're able to hold your own with 12-year-old versions of characters from Naruto's generation, that's not bad company to be in when you consider how strong the Konoha 12 ended up becoming.